Tonight on The Deadly Romance, a honeymoon gone wrong. Was it an accident, or was it planned? This is the story of Michel Escoto and Wendy Trapaga, with host Unique, brought to you by the Love Talk podcast. 2002, Michel Escoto and Wendy Trapaga fell in love. So deep into love that the couple decided they would tie the knot and get married. Michel planned to take his new wife Wendy off on a romantic honeymoon to Key West, Florida to kick off the celebration of being newlyweds. Wendy was ready for a blissful and romantic trip, but it ended in tragedy.
Hello. This is your girl, Queen Unique, coming to you for the Love Talk podcast. And today we are going to be discussing deadly romance. This is a story about a young woman named Wendy Trapaga. A young woman who thought that she was going to be the one that had her life ahead of her. She thought that she was going to fall in love, meet a good man, live happily ever after. 21 years old, beautiful as can be. But what happens? She meets a monster. A monster who decided he was going to take her sweet, precious life. Such a shame. She didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. So, what do? What can we do? Now, this is a little bit of a backstory. She's 21. He was 42 when they married. They went on a honeymoon in Key West, Florida. But 4 days after they were married, she was dead.
What was supposed to be a joyous celebration and romantic honeymoon turned out to be the honeymoon from a nightmare for Wendy. Just 4 days after the wedding, Wendy Trapaga met her tragic fate at the hands of her friend, the love of her life, and husband Michel Escoto, whose greed and selfishness led him to end the life of the woman he claimed to love.
He had taken out a $1 million life insurance policy on her. And if it wasn't for that, she'd probably still be alive, and we don't know. He probably would have found another reason to kill her. But he decided that he was going to kill her for life insurance. $1 million. He murdered her in 2002. And in 2005, he went on trial for her murder. Another thing is, too, about this case that is just very shocking, is that he had a girlfriend on the side. And the girlfriend on the side helped him, so we say, murder this young woman, which he first attempted to drug and drown in a hot tub. But he didn't want to stay down there that long. I wonder why. So when drowning her in the hot tub did not work, this man took her body, put her in his vehicle, went and stopped at his girlfriend's house, picked her up, and drove to a warehouse and beat her to death with a tire iron. I don't. People are greedy. It is never, ever, ever, ever okay to do anything like that. People are so greedy. And on top of that, why was he 42 with a 21-year-old? And, can't put no blame on her. It's no fault of her own. But it's a mess. This case, it took him 3 years to take him to court. 3 years. And the funny thing about this case is that he decided he wanted to represent himself. He wanted to represent himself. So, I'm going to play you this video, this news report, and you will see just how cocky, how conniving, how he really thinks that he's really getting away with this.
Now at 5:30, a newlywed murder trial underway in Miami with the husband who's accused of killing his wife acting as his own attorney. This has made for some very, very uncomfortable moments in court.
The victim's mother testified today, facing down the man who used to be her son-in-law. Local 10 News reporter Carlos Suarez is live in Miami with more on what happened in court today.
Victor and Janine, prosecutors said that the accused rushed his marriage and days later killed his newlywed wife to cash in on her life insurance policy. It's a claim that Michel Escoto has not addressed days into his murder trial.
Dad, give me one quick second, Judge.
Comical, if not for the issue at hand, 42-year-old Michel Escoto tried his best to defend what prosecutors say is the indefensible charges that he drugged his newlywed wife and choked her to death to collect on her $1 million life insurance.
Do you think that I could kill Wendy?
Nunca pensé que fuera capaz una cosa así.
I never thought
Su esposo.
you would be capable of something like that. You were her husband.
Escoto is representing himself in court, and at times during Monday's testimony, it was uncomfortable to watch as he questioned his ex-mother-in-law.
Did Wendy tell you that would stress her out?
Okay, no.
During that time, did Wendy communicate to you?
Same objection.
Attorney Mark Eiglarsh says it's no surprise Escoto is having a tough time in court. These types of legal moves often don't end well.
3 objections in less than 20 seconds. How frustrating is it for the state, the judge, the jurors?
No one in the criminal system, and I've been there for 2 decades, enjoys when someone's representing themselves. They just don't know the rules of procedure, and it creates a nightmare, assuming he's convicted on appeal.
Prosecutors say Escoto killed then 21-year-old Wendy Trapaga 3 days after they tied the knot in 2002. It wasn't until 3 years later when Escoto stopped trying to collect on the policy that he was charging her death.
Prosecutors are banking on the testimony of Escoto's ex-girlfriend who said she took part in the murder plot. The state offered her immunity in the case, and she's expected to take the stand at some point in the trial. If convicted, Escoto faces the possibility of life in prison. We're live this afternoon in Miami. I'm Carlos Suarez, Local 10 News.
And the thing about that is, the girlfriend got immunity for her participation. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm frustrated because this is a very beautiful young woman who had her whole life ahead of her. Her whole life. And she's killed by somebody who's greedy. And there's a participant, at least in the conspiracy and the cover-up. She might not have helped him beat her, but she definitely knew about it. And the fact that they gave her immunity to testify against him, I have a serious problem with that. A serious problem with that. Because guess what? I'm pretty sure she got part of that $1 million too when he got that money from the life insurance. I'm pretty sure that him and her spent that money like crazy. I'm pretty positive. So she benefited along with him from this young woman's death. Can we get more despicable than that? Doesn't make any sense. Again, she was offered immunity to testify against him. She should have been charged as well, because everybody knows you don't have to commit the murder. If you are an active participant in any way, you get just the same charges that the other person gets. Just the same charges. So even though she might not have struck her, she participated. So she should have been charged with something. But she wasn't.
In Miami-Dade County, in the spring of 2014, Escoto was finally going to stand trial for insurance fraud and the murder of his wife and the plaintiff, Wendy Trapaga. This trial made national news stories and gained much media, as everyone was paying close attention to the embarrassing and despicable act of Michel, all while wondering what the jurors would decide his fate would be for such a heinous crime.
I don't know. But the thing about this is this man wanted to represent himself. He had an attorney, but he wanted to represent himself, which means he got to question the witnesses, which means he got to also question his ex-girlfriend. And on top of that, he was acting very weird and very crazy in the thing. And it doesn't make any sense that, he was acting extremely strange, acting weird in the courtroom, like if he was trying to get himself a what do you call it? Put his insanity. This doesn't make any sense.
The bizarre drama playing out in a courtroom in Florida. A man defending himself at his own murder trial. His angry outburst had the prosecutor voicing some anger of her own and demanding a judge take action. ABC's Gio Benitez has been following the case. Good morning, Gio.
Good morning, Bianna. The man is charged with killing his 21-year-old wife within days of a rushed wedding. Now, a strange series of events right there in court. Prosecutors feeling threatened as the judge calls it all a circus. It's a bizarre murder case playing out in a Florida court right now. That's 42-year-old Michel Escoto, accused of murdering his new wife, Wendy Trapaga, just days after their marriage. The allegation? He did it to collect $1 million in insurance money. Now he's representing himself in court. Here he is addressing a witness on the stand.
Say that again.
Objection,
I think
Mr. Escoto.
That outburst leaving the judge to hold him in contempt of court.
This is not a circus and it's not a show. This is a murder trial. But we're not going to make it a comedy or a show. I'm not going to allow that.
But Friday, a twist. Prosecutors telling the judge that Escoto is dangerous.
This defendant is a time bomb waiting to explode.
And even with the contempt of court ruling, prosecutors say they fear for their safety.
That's not enough for me to feel safe. It is not enough for my partner to feel safe.
Now prosecutors are asking for the tables to be rearranged in court so they'd be far enough for Escoto to reach. Watch as Escoto cross-examines his own mother-in-law last week.
Do you think that I could kill Wendy?
Nunca pensé que fuera capaz de una cosa así.
I never thought
Su esposo.
you would be capable of something like that. You were her husband.
And Escoto has pleaded not guilty and has said only a moron would kill someone for insurance money. The trial is expected to last at least another month, Dan.
Quite a case, Gio. Thank you.
And he's the moron who killed his wife for insurance money. Yeah, I don't want to, give too much on him because he is a monster. He is just words don't even express what he is. Oh, but let me show you this. Um, the girlfriend that testified. Ay, 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 ay. Hold on. This is her. I just feel like he downgraded, I guess you could say. And that's her right here on the right. And she's the one who helped him. She's the one. Yeah, she testified on helping her boyfriend. Yeah, let's play this. Let me play this because I think everybody should see. Oh, I don't know what it's doing. 1 second. Let me start this over. This is a little bit more of a backstory on this case and why it's so it's just ridiculous that he really honestly thought that he could get away with it. He really did. He really honestly thought that he could get away with it.
Tonight, a toxic love triangle leads to the grisly murder of a beautiful young bride just 3 days after her wedding. Michel Escoto, that's a guy, is accused of plotting with his girlfriend to murder his brand new wife. Also, he could collect $1 million in life insurance. 21-year-old Wendy Trapaga was drugged, choked, and bludgeoned to death. Look at this beautiful young woman. Her body was found outside a Miami warehouse, and it was a gruesome scene. Now, in a crazy twist, the husband, an accused murderer, is representing himself on trial and had to cross-examine the victim's mom. That's right, his former mother-in-law.
Did you think that I could kill Wendy?
Nunca pensé que fuera capaz una cosa así.
I never
Él es
thought.
su esposo.
Escoto's one-time girlfriend and alleged accomplice got total immunity for turning on him. There she is. The ex-girlfriend told investigators she helped the defendant
It's a shame.
crush up powerful painkillers in order to drug the victim, and she also drove the getaway car. But that's not all. Perhaps the most shocking thing in this case, the ex-girlfriend says she allowed the defendant to dunk her head in a bathtub of water so they could practice drowning his wife. Are you kidding me?
That's it.
What do you think about this?
That
1-877
is
JVM
sick.
says. 1-877-586-7297. John Lieberman, investigator. Take us through the grisly timeline from wedding vows to murder.
Well, let me tell you this, Jane. Ironically, this guy wasn't charged right after the murder. What happened was he sued the life insurance company, claiming that he should have gotten the $1 million faster, and he gave conflicting statements as to what happened during that civil trial. That's when police in
He
2005
sued them.
actually charged him, and then they found this ex-girlfriend, and they got her to flip on him as well. This has been a very lengthy case that's now carried on for more than a decade. And quite simply, it's going to come down to, does this jury believe this ex-girlfriend who flipped and got complete immunity? Do they believe her blow-by-blow testimony of exactly how he did it, how he did the murder?
Well, my gosh, considering what she has admitted to, she has gotten away, this woman, with horrific acts, all for agreeing to flip, basically, and turncoat and turn against the defendant. I mean, this woman, by her own admission, practice, she allowed her boyfriend to practice drowning her in the bathtub. She was
That's it.
the
That was
model
very
for
disturbing.
him to practice trying to kill his wife. I can't get my head around that, Lisa Bloom.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. You know, it's the whole system where somebody gets complete immunity, even though they've committed a terrible act, is awful, except what's the alternative? I mean, if they want to get the primary killer, this man allegedly, then they have to have evidence against him, and she's the primary witness. So, boy, I agree. I would sure like to see her behind bars as well, but I guess the thinking is it's better to get one of them than neither of them.
You see how disgusting that is? And I didn't know about I knew he got the $1 million life insurance. I had no idea that he had sued them because he thought that they wasn't giving it to him fast enough. Oh my gosh. The world that we live in today. You can, and maybe, why didn't the insurance company find it suspicious of what he was reporting was happening with his wife when he was reporting her death? Because that life insurance policy, from what I remember, was only taken out very soon before they even got married. So I don't understand how the insurance company wouldn't be suspicious. You just took out this policy and you got married, and within 4 days she's dead. Let's start our own investigation. You would think that they would actually do that, but that's not what happened. They went through their normal steps, but because he wasn't getting it like this, you mean to tell me this man can sue an insurance company? That's great. You are more worried about getting that insurance payment than you were about your wife being found by some dumpster behind a warehouse? And that's not suspicious to anybody? And it took them 3 years to arrest him? 3 years. My mind is boggled. I just don't understand. I'm frustrated because that time frame should have never happened, and the girlfriend should have never gotten immunity. Should have never received, especially full immunity, which means that it doesn't matter if she said that she hit her in the head a couple of times. She still was not going to be charged with anything. Nothing could have been used against her. And that's what I am struggling with. Because some of the stuff I didn't know, I thought that he had picked her up and then took her to the warehouse. And that was really her involvement in just her watching him. I forgot that. I mean, this story is old. This murder happened in 2002. And he went to court in 2005. So it's been some years, but I really did forget that she let this man practice drowning her to practice on his wife. What kind of sick, depraved, disturbing, who does things like that? And what would go through anybody's right mind?
Escoto versus State was an embarrassing, sad, but very short trial, as it only lasted 2 days and took jurors 4 hours to hand down the sentence of life to Michel Escoto for the 2002 murder of Wendy Trapaga.
I am so sorry that her family had to experience that. I'm so sorry that she did not get to live the full life that she should have lived. She was only 21 years old. She had a whole life ahead of her. She thought she met the man of her dreams. And that man of her dreams took her life away for greed. Who knows what she could have been? Who knows? But I bet you anything, she would have made a difference in this world. She would have been somebody special. But, you know, the good thing about this, though, is that he got found guilty, which is a blessing. And he got a... Oh, one more thing. He had a little temper tantrum in the courtroom. This man felt like he was entitled to I don't know what he thought he was entitled to. But he was in court, acted crazy, threatening people. And I'm like, who is you threatening, homie? Who? Why do you feel the need? Because things aren't going your way, you get to just talk to the people that way? No, you don't. You absolutely don't. You absolutely do not get to talk to them that way. You absolutely do not get to talk to them. And he threw a tantrum like he was a little boo-hoo-hoo. Oh, you're not responding the way I want you to respond. And you're not, the judge isn't being fair. And it is just literally just a mess. So let me get this together for y'all. Because you know what? It's hilarious. It's on mute. Let me unmute it. Let me start. Oh my goodness. Let me start.
The fact that you have been married to her for 3 days.
All right, let's start it over.
Now, how early in the process did you come to your conclusion, sir, that I was guilty of the murder of Wendy Trapaga?
The fact that you have been married to her for 3 days before you killed her to get the life insurance.
Judge, give me a second because I'm going to say something that I shouldn't. Just say that again.
Objection,
Judge.
Mr. Escoto.
All of those guys wearing white is going to take all of them and some more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a little break.
And it's not funny. I don't appreciate your laugh. You're smirking either.
He's threatening an official. He's throwing a tantrum. And look at the dude smiling, like you're not gonna do anything. Look at him.
I'm not going to allow you to create an atmosphere that this court may have to declare a mistrial.
I'm a human being. This is somebody that I care for. It takes a lot to get me upset. But when somebody looks at me and they tell me to my face that I kill somebody that I judge, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that if he did it again, I could control him. I don't know if I could.
I want to be heard on this issue. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, first of all, there was nothing that Mr. Barone did that was inappropriate. This defendant asked a question, the same question he has asked witness after witness and received the same answer.
That's a big negative.
He does not like Mr. Barone for whatever reason, and he picked a fight with him, and he lost. And he lost in front of this jury. He said something very telling to the court. He said he doesn't think he can control himself.
Judge, I don't think we should continue the clause. That's not just because it's not that I can't control myself, it's that he's not gonna control himself.
If you don't wish to continue the clause.
He's not gonna control himself. He was smirking as the jury was leaving. He was smirking for me, just for me. He knows what he did. He's good at it. You know, I failed into that situation. That was my responsibility. That was the buck stops with me, Judge. And I failed it. But for whatever it's worth,
it can't happen again. That's the problem.
And you see,
First, there was place.
Big O. What it is. I don't know why it's still playing. But this Big O baby, he threw a temper tantrum because he asked somebody a question. And because he said, well, you married her and she was only dead after a few days. And he took offense to that. One thing that everybody should know, you don't ever ask a question that you don't want the answer to. Never. Because you are going to be extremely disappointed. And I think that everything that happened to him, he absolutely, truly deserves everything. Everything that has happened to him, he deserves. And it's, sad that everybody's life was ruined because of somebody's actions. But at the end of the day, there's a good result that could come out of this. And the result is this.
A convicted newlywed killer who defended himself in his high-profile murder trial learned his fate. A Miami-Dade judge giving Michel Escoto a life sentence without the chance of parole, and it was a decision you saw first on NBC6. Team 6 reporter Ari Odzer is live in the studio with the reaction. Ari?
Jackie, this was an extremely emotional morning in court. Wendy Trapaga, his mom, sisters, and friends, even the homicide detective, testified in Michel Escoto's sentencing hearing, despite the fact that because of the way Florida law is written, everyone knew what the outcome would be.
You are hereby sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Michel Escoto knew what was coming. He'll never see the light of freedom again. The sentencing hearing gave...
And see, that is what happened. He got sentenced to life. I know that does not bring her back. And I don't even know if it gives the family closure. But one thing I do know is that he will never be able to hurt another person again. And I hope that he gets right with Jesus. And I hope that he gives the family a reason why. Like it's going to make a difference. But I really do hope that he's getting all the karma that he deserves. And I hope and pray that I can't even say that I hope and pray. I pray that with him being locked up behind bars, that the family's sleeping better at night, that the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Wendy Trapaga is resting peacefully. And I hope that the girlfriend gets her karma too. Because God doesn't like ugly. And what you do unto others comes back on you tenfold. And that's something that everybody needs to think about. You're not ruining just your life. You're not ruining just that person's life. You're ruining the lives of everybody around her and everybody involved, her friends, her family, acquaintances, everybody. And you should get have done to you tenfold. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm upset with some of the stuff that I found out, but there will be more to come. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I will see you again very, very soon. Bye!
Wendy is gone, but never will be forgotten by all of her family and close friends, and we hope her mother can rest knowing that justice was served and that Wendy was loved and cared for by many. This has been the first episode of the Love Talk podcast, Deadly Romance, with your host, Queen Unique. Stay tuned for the next episode of Deadly Romance and for the Love Talk podcast Season 3 to start April 4th, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube with host Shante and Janea. Till next time.